Over many years, I've struggled to focus on a single task, and I've struggled to avoid distractions, and I would always wonder why I'm procrastinating so much. And in the past couple of years, I've really become a student on how to really focus. And I've discovered some things. And before I tell you about the things, I want to tell you about three steps, three layers of focus that there are. So there is a layer of daylight where you focus on single tasks. You know, I'm going to drive this car. I'm going to take out the laundry and put it in and fold it up. Whatever that might be. That's the immediate daylight focus. Then there's starlight, which is your big projects, your goals that you want to achieve. So I try to have maximum of 5 projects every quarter, or kind of balance at the same time, and even 5 is too many. And within each of those projects there are things that individual tasks that you focus on. And then there is daylight, and then there is what was that? It was daylight, which kind of shines light on everything. You know, why do you want to do these things? Why do you want to achieve your goals? Who are you as a person? What motivates you? And so, as you may have probably noticed, there are so many depths to focusing. But some of the most important changes in my life that have helped me to focus have been 3 main things. Number 1, pre-commitment. Pre-commitment to not doing certain things, to removing distractions. So if you think about what focus is, the opposite of focus is distraction. So you want to remove those distractions. And the way I did that is by using some browser extensions, which when I go on YouTube, I don't see any recommended videos, because then I can just look up a single video, look up the topic that I want to find out about, and then not go into a rabbit hole and end up 2 hours later completely derailed off my task. Another thing would be removing apps from the phone, which create a boundary, like a barrier, for you to stop yourself from automatically going to those distracting places. And some people put blockers on their phones or their computers where they block the access to the internet. Whatever that may be for you, there are so many options. I'm not going to discuss all of them here. The second most important thing to increase focus that I found was finding flow. So finding those moments where you forget about time, you forget about life, you forget about anything that exists around you, and you only single-handedly work on the thing in front of you. And you achieve that by choosing something that is just difficult enough for you to kind of struggle a little bit, but at the same time know a little enough about it to kind of get into the flow. And that's also I do that also by asking myself, how could I make this fun? How could I make this task in front of me fun? I've also managed to figure out and I've spent enough time thinking about what are the things, the projects that I want to do in life that are most satisfying to me, and I try to select those projects as opposed to other projects. I've spent time thinking about who I am, so I looked at spotlight, starlight, and daylight levels of kind of goal setting, and I didn't think about increasing my focus until I started working on things that actually really mattered to me. And I realized that I'm struggling to focus on something that matters, and I end up going away and scrolling social media, which at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't move the needle forward. So yeah, like I select things that stimulate me, that motivate me. And then finally, the third thing that I've realized is mind wandering and relaxation. It's when you're able to let your mind think about random things, it creates space for yourself to connect the dots, to figure out things that might connect, that there might be a problem that you were thinking about for a whole day, but until you let that idea go, sometimes you need that little bit of time. Let your mind mull over things on its own in order to come up with something fresh. And relaxation does the same thing. It lets you recharge. It refuels your brain, and it gives you the ability to focus when it actually matters. So I know, like, there's the hustle culture and all of that, and there are periods where you really, really work. But I've found myself that if I spend my time going into monk mode and work from 7 a.m. until 11 p.m. every day, I actually get less done than if I work less time and I take a day or two off every week, and it creates that space for rest. So those are my changes that I've had over the past couple of years, and they've reshaped the nature of how I work and who I am. And so I'm not trying to convince you, whoever you are watching, that you should do those things, but I think that you should think about whether what you are doing and how you are working is the correct way to work. It's improving focus is such a force multiplier that I wish I asked myself these questions, and I wish I stopped and figured out how to focus at university, at my initial jobs. I probably would have achieved so much more by just sticking to a project for longer than I did, because I would begin some project in the past and then stop halfway through because I would be distracted by the next shiny object and by the next, and so I rarely got my ideas completed. I'd be very quick to start them, but not very quick to finish. So there we go. Think about focus.